Hey everybody, let's talk now about supplementary angles. So you should have watched the video on complementary angles, and if you watched those, you saw that you had two angles that add up to 90. So I guess the way my brain works is I would be thinking at this point, well, what are two angles that add up to 180 degrees called? Is there such a thing? Is there any need for that? And indeed, there is such a thing, and they are called supplementary angles. So if I have a straight angle here that is the worst straight angle I've ever drawn in my life, and I break it up into two different angles, supposing I have this going on. I'm really glad I have that straightening tool on here. What supplementary angles tell me is that if I take this angle right here, so that angle, and I add it to this angle, so angle 1 and angle 2, all right? So supplementary angles, angle 1 and angle 2, make up a straight angle. All right, they make up a straight angle. And what that means is angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. So supplementary angles are two angles that sum up to 180 degrees. So that's what a supplementary angle is. And if you have, if you would say angle 1 and angle 2 are, and then the word is supplements of each other. So that's the language, that's the lingo you need to know when you're hearing about supplementary angles and what you read about. If somebody says, angle 3 is a supplement of angle 4, or angle 3 and angle 4 are supplements of each other, that means they make a straight angle. They add up to 180 degrees. And so you use that to solve some simple problems. So let's look at the first kind of problem that you might see. So this says to find x. So if I look at this, I see that I have a big angle, an obtuse angle, and I have an acute angle. And the two of them added up together should give me what? Think about that. Well, it's a straight angle, so they should add up to be 180 degrees. So 145 plus x, I'm going to leave all the degrees out till the end, equals 180. All right? And then just like any other one-step equation, we're going to just try and get x by itself. So we're going to do that by subtracting 145 from both sides. All right? And when I do that, I get 35 on this side. This cancels out nice and neat, and we get x is equal to 35. And then I would say x equals, or so up here, I'll say x equals 35 degrees. Okay, and you can check your work just by adding 35 and 45 and see what they get. And if you did it right, they should add up to 180. All right, let's try another one here. So same kind of problem, written in a slightly different order, but that's okay. So what this means then is these two angles, x and 18, because that's what that means. Sorry, it's written a little weird. X plus 18 equals 180 degrees. So you have a really large angle here that's almost the size of the straight angle, but a little smaller. And then you have a really tiny acute angle there. So x plus 18 equals 180. We want to get x by itself. So we look at what's being done to it and do the opposite. So we subtract 18 from both sides. And that will give me 162 over here. This cancels. My x comes there. And so then my finished answer, sorry about that, is x equals 162 degrees. And I'll write that up here. X equals 162 degrees. All right, last kind of problem. These are a little tricky, but conceptually they shouldn't be too hard to set up. The algebra might be a little hard for some of you, but conceptually you should be able to at least write it out. All right, so let's look at this, okay? It says solve for x and find the measures of the two angles. Well, look at the two angles. I know that this right here is a straight angle, right? So that means that this measure that I just marked is 180 degrees, and if that means that this is also 180 degrees. Well, if I know that that angle is 180 degrees. And it's split up between this angle right here and this angle right here. Well, then that just means that those angles, 7x minus 1 and 15x plus 5, are supplements of each other, and they add up to 180 degrees. And at this point, it just becomes kind of a slightly more complicated solving thing, but something you've done already, so this isn't new. So you can pretty much drop your parentheses. So we'll go 7x minus 1 plus 15x plus 5 equals 180. And then let's combine some like terms over here. So let's do our variables. So we got 7x and 15x, so that's going to give me 22x. Then let's do our constants. We get negative 1 and 5 gives me plus 4, and that equals 180. This is a multi-step problem here. So we're going to now subtract 4 from both sides. We're going to just stick with orange from here on out. And that's going to give me 176. That's a really bad looking 6. 176 is equal to 22x. And then at that point, all right, so let's bring that over here. We got 22x equals, and wouldn't you know it, I forgot it, equals 176, all right? At that point, I know that I need to isolate x, so I divide both sides by 22. And if I do that, I'm going to see, let's try 8. Let's see if 22 times 8 gives me 176. It does. Good. So x equals 8. So now what I want to do is I'm going to bring that 8 around, and I'm going to plug it into this equation, and I'm going to plug it into there. So I'm going to plug my x equals 8 into that equation, my x equals 8, that expression, and my x equals 8 into this expression. So if I do that, I'm going to do this in another color so that it pops a little more. You have 7 times 8 minus 1. So that gives me 56 minus 1, which is 55 degrees. So once you know one of these, you can find the other one by doing the same thing, or you can just say, I know they're straight angles, so 180 minus 55 is going to give me what I need, and it should give me 125 if I did it right, right? Because 180 minus 55 gives me 125. So let's try it this way, though, see if that works. So 15 times 8 plus 5. Well, 15 times 8 is 120 plus 5. So yeah, 125 degrees. So that works. All right, so we're done.